You know that feeling when you finally sit down at the end of the day, and instead of feeling accomplished, you just feel exhausted? And your mind starts making a list. Not a to-do list for tomorrow, no, this is different. This is the list of everything you didn't get done today. Everything you think you messed up. Every text you forgot to reply to. Every task that's still sitting there, unfinished. And maybe you showered today, or maybe you didn't. And if you didn't, there's this tiny voice telling you that something as simple as a shower shouldn't be this hard. Maybe you snapped at someone you love because you're just so tired. And now you're replaying that moment, wondering why you can't just be better. If this sounds familiar, if this feels like your everyday, I need you to stay right here with me, because what I'm about to tell you might change how you see yourself. Hi, I'm so glad you're here, and I mean that genuinely. The fact that you clicked on this video, the fact that you're still listening, that already tells me something about you. You're trying. You're searching for something. Maybe it's validation, maybe it's hope, maybe it's just a reminder that you're not failing at this thing called life, even though it feels like you are sometimes. Here's the thing nobody really talks about. We live in a world that celebrates the highlight reel. The promotions, the perfect family photos, the I woke up at 5 a.m. and ran a marathon before work posts, the productivity, the success, the constant forward motion. But nobody posts about the Tuesday afternoon when they sat in their car in the parking lot for 10 minutes, just breathing, trying to gather enough energy to walk into the grocery store. Nobody talks about lying in bed, scrolling through their phone for an hour because the thought of starting the day feels like climbing a mountain. Nobody shares the moments when putting on real pants feels like an achievement worthy of a medal. But those moments, those are real life. That's the stuff that actually makes up our days. And if you're living through those moments, if you're fighting battles that nobody else can see, then I need you to hear this. You're doing better than you think you are. I know you might not believe me right now. I know your brain is probably already preparing arguments against what I just said. So let me prove it to you. Let's talk about what you actually did today. Not what you think you should have done. Not what other people did. What you did. Did you wake up this morning? I'm serious. Did you open your eyes, even though maybe part of you didn't want to face another day? Because that right there, that's not nothing. For some people, on some days, that's everything. Maybe you got out of bed. Maybe you didn't right away, and that's okay too. But at some point today, you moved. You existed. You continued. Did you eat something? Anything? Maybe it wasn't a perfectly balanced meal. Maybe it was leftovers eaten standing up at the kitchen counter. Maybe it was cereal for dinner, but you nourished your body. You kept yourself going. Did you speak to another human being today? Even if it was just thank you to a cashier, or a text message to a friend, or mumbling, I'm fine. When someone asked how you are, even when you're not fine, you participated in the world. You showed up in some small way. Maybe today you did laundry. Not all of it. Maybe it's still sitting in the basket, unfolded. But it's clean. That's progress. That's you taking care of yourself and your space, even when you're exhausted. Maybe you paid a bill. Maybe you made a phone call you'd been avoiding for weeks. Maybe you washed one dish, replied to one email, put gas in your car, took your medication, brushed your teeth. Maybe you cried, and then you wiped your tears and kept going anyway. Do you know what all of these things are? They're proof. Proof that you're trying. Proof that even when it's hard, even when every small task feels like pushing a boulder uphill, you're still doing it. You're still here. You're still trying. You're still fighting. And I know you're thinking, but these are just basic things. Everyone does these things. This isn't special. But here's what you're missing. You're doing these things while carrying weight that other people can't see. I know what your brain is doing right now. It's comparing. It's thinking about your friend who seems to have their life together. Your coworker who's always cheerful. That person on social media who's launching their third business while you're just trying to remember to drink water. And suddenly, all those invisible victories I just listed feel small again. Insignificant. Not enough. But here's the truth that your tired brain keeps forgetting. You are not living their life. You are living yours. You don't know what they're carrying. You don't know what their 2 a.m. thoughts sound like. You don't know how many times they've broken down in private. You don't know what medications they take, what therapy sessions they attend, what struggles they hide behind their smile. And more importantly, their journey has absolutely nothing to do with the value of yours. Your progress is not measured by how you compare to other people. It's measured by how far you've come from where you were. Maybe last month you couldn't get out of bed at all, and today you got up, even though it was hard. That's progress. Maybe last year you were so anxious you couldn't leave the house, and today you went to the store, even though your heart was racing the whole time. That's progress. Maybe yesterday you didn't eat anything, and today you had toast. That's progress. Progress isn't always forward. Sometimes it's just sideways. Sometimes it's just surviving. And surviving, my friend, is enough. You don't have to earn your worth by being productive. You don't have to justify your existence by achieving things. You don't have to be better than you were yesterday. You just have to be here, and you are. Maybe you're doing all of this while dealing with anxiety that makes your chest tight and your thoughts race at 2 a.m. Maybe you're doing all of this while fighting depression that makes everything feel gray and heavy and pointless. Maybe you're doing all of this while grieving someone you lost, or grieving the person you used to be before life got hard. Maybe you're doing all of this while working a job that drains your soul, because you have bills to pay and people depending on you. Maybe you're doing all of this while managing chronic pain, chronic illness, or a body that doesn't work the way you wish it would. Maybe you're doing all of this while recovering from trauma that nobody knows about, while carrying secrets that feel too heavy to share, while wearing a smile that hides the war going on inside your head. Maybe you're doing all of this while feeling completely and utterly alone, even when you're surrounded by people. See, when I say you're doing better than you think, I don't mean you're doing everything perfectly. I don't mean you've got it all figured out. What I mean is this: you're carrying a backpack full of rocks that nobody else can see, and you're still walking. Some days you're crawling. Some days you're barely moving at all, but you haven't stopped. You're doing all of these basic things while fighting battles that would bring other people to their knees. And the fact that you're still here, still trying, still getting up every day, even when every day feels exactly the same, even when you can't see the point anymore, that's not just basic. That's extraordinary. That's brave. That's you being so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. I want to give you permission for something. Permission to have hard days. Permission to not be okay. Permission to do the bare minimum and call it a victory. Permission to rest without feeling guilty. Permission to say no without explaining yourself. Permission to take up space even when you feel like you don't deserve to. Permission to be messy and imperfect and still figuring it out. Because that's what being human is. We're all just doing our best with what we have. And some days our best looks really small, and that's okay. You don't have to be inspiring. You don't have to be a success story. You don't have to have it all together. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be struggling. You're allowed to be barely holding on. And you're still worthy. You're still valuable. You're still doing better than you think. The fact that you're watching this video right now tells me you haven't given up. Part of you is still hoping. Still looking for a reason to keep going. Still searching for someone to tell you that you're not failing. So let me be that person for you today. You're not failing. You're fighting. And that's not the same thing.
I don't know what tomorrow will bring for you. I don't know if it will be easier or harder than today. But I know this: you've made it through every hard day so far. That's a 100% success rate. And I believe you'll make it through tomorrow too. And the day after that. One day, 1 hour, 1 moment at a time. You're doing better than you think you are. Please believe that. Please be gentle with yourself. Please remember that you matter not because of what you accomplish, but simply because you exist, softer, like a friend. I'm proud of you for today. For whatever you managed to do, for still being here. And if nobody else has told you this, I'm glad you exist. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, okay? You deserve that.